Pat Duckworth, the author of Hot Women Rock, How to Discover Your Midlife Entrepreneurial Mojo. And I just love talking to all these wonderful entrepreneurs. I'm learning a lot. I hope that you do too, from their stories, but also from the tips that they give us. If there's anything in particular that you enjoy, I would love you to put a comment underneath. Or if there's anything that you'd like to ask, I'm sure that my guests will come back and answer your questions. But my guest today is an international best-selling author and speaker who loves helping people share their message with the world. She's a brilliant branding strategist, giving speakers, business owners, coaches, and entrepreneurs the next steps and clear direction to success. She's also a graphic design expert, creating products and marketing tools that generate leads and revenue. It's my pleasure to welcome to Hot Women Rock, Alicia White, owner of Back of the Room Productions and speakersheets.com, to our call. So, Alicia, welcome.
Hey, Pat, thank you so much for having me on your show today.
It's really good to see you. We're kind of new friends because I only met you back in July in Las Vegas, but that's a great place to meet people. And that's kind of what I like about going to speaker events, because you just get to meet some great people and make these connections. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that more as we go on. There's so much I want to know about you. So start me off. Tell me about your entrepreneurial journey. Did you go straight into being an entrepreneur when you stopped education, or has it been a longer journey than that?
Well, I have to tell you, Pat, I think I have your true entrepreneurial spirit here, and I didn't even know it. I did start out with a degree in nuclear medicine. And so yes. So I worked in the hospital as a nuclear medicine technologist for 10 years, not knowing my passion. I just, went to college like my dad asked me to go to college. And, or it didn't ask me, he demanded I went to college. And I worked there for 10 years, and I found that I had a passion for writing and public relations. And so I actually went back to school and received a degree in public relations. And so I began working at a nonprofit organization, and I was still unsure about my passion. And I'll tell you what my passion is, and that is graphic design. That is giving strategy. I love it. But I still wasn't tapping into that, not even when I went from the nonprofit organization to the corporate world where I was working in graphic design. Now, I was there for 4 or 5 years, and it was wonderful. I loved it until they decided to downsize the corporation.
So how did you discover that you had that talent for graphic design? Because nothing leading up to that seems to have pointed to it.
Well, that's what's crazy. Okay, so my mom is a right brain. My dad is a left brain. And I guess I got both of those. So I initially had my left brain working for me, and I was not an illustrator. I was not doing graphic design, but I was doing a lot of photography. And that is a right brain trait. And so when I went back to college and started working on website development and design and working with Photoshop and Illustrator on the computer, that's when I thought, oh, I love this, And then when I landed the corporate job, I just fell into the niche, I said, this is it. This is where I need to be.
How did you develop that talent, though? I mean, had that come from all of that visual stuff around the photography? Had you ever drawn or painted or sketched as a hobby even?
Never. Wow. Photography, and I also did a lot of decorating. So I would go to my friends' homes and do some interior decorating. Even if they didn't want me to, I'd move a pillow from here to there. But I was always redecorating my rooms and my parents' homes, and I think it was always in there, that innate. It was just under the skin. And it wasn't until I learned in the nonprofit world, I was given all of these tools to create brochures and annual reports. And when I started using those tools, I just shot off. I mean, it just came to me naturally.
Yeah.
And then going to the corporate world, it came to me so naturally, and I was kind of surpassing my boss on some things, which was kind of cool. So it's probably why I was next to go on the list of the downsizing.
So what made you decide then? Did you go straight from that job into working for yourself, or was there another step?
Nope, that was it. When I downsized, my husband, he's an entrepreneur, and he's a successful entrepreneur for the last 19 years. And we've been, so he helped me build that entrepreneurial spirit. I didn't know that I wanted to be in business for myself, And so when I left the job before they had a chance to let me go, because I wanted to try out, a different arena, but that didn't pan out. I had to start learning how to do business and, get clients. And since I'm a natural at meeting people and I love talking to people and I love hearing what people's ideas, I would go to different organizations and groups, and I started building my clientele doing that. But I didn't have, again, here's the entrepreneurial spirit is always evolving. I'm always evolving. It wasn't until 5 years ago. So that happened in 2004, 13 years. Is that right? 13 years ago. And in 2012 is when I started Back of the Room Productions, when I started working specifically with people who wanted to speak.
Yeah.
And so again, I'm evolving as an entrepreneur. And in 2012, so the last 5 years, I've been working with coaches, entrepreneurs, freelancers, business owners, the people that know that when they get in front of a group of people like you and I, when we shared the stage at the Public Speakers Conference, we know that we're changing the world. We're making an impact on people's lives. I loved your speech. I loved your presentation. It was just so inspiring and hilarious too. And but we know that we're making a difference in people's lives, and then that also helps us grow our business. And when I learned 5 years ago that people were doing that, and they weren't the Zig Ziglars, and they weren't the Tony Robbins and the Les Browns, they were people like you and me. I realized they were leaving money on the table. They were missing opportunities to generate leads and revenue. And so I built Back of the Room Productions and speakersheets.com, and it has just taken off, and I love it.
What is it that you love about public speaking?
It's interesting. When I first started public speaking, Tanya Hoffman, who is the founder of the Public Speakers Association, she got me, and I told her, I said, I'm just a graphic designer. She said, no, you're going to speak. I said, no, I'm just a graphic designer. Well, the first time I spoke, I realized I had value that people actually wanted to hear. I mean, I knew I was smart, and I knew I had expertise that other people didn't, but I didn't know that they wanted to hear it. I didn't know that they didn't know it. And so now when I get on stage, it is my goal to ensure I impart some piece of information that someone doesn't know and can use and implement immediately.
Yeah. And I loved the way you talked about getting that speaker sheet together, because speakers love to speak. There's a whole bunch of people out there who don't like public speaking, and there are those of us who just love it, and we want to get more gigs and we want to get our name out there. Mm-hmm. And you provided such practical information about it, and so I love my one sheet that you've designed for me, so thank you so much for that.
Thank
you. So this is Pat Duckworth talking to Alicia White. And Alicia, so tell me how you said there were some challenges, and I know what it's like coming from years of working corporately and and I've worked for a not-for-profit as well, and then coming into working for yourself, what were your challenges in setting up as an entrepreneur?
The challenges are realizing that, okay, yes, you can do your business, you can do, you can do what you're passionate about, but then you have to set up a business. And that means banking, setting up, getting clients. Oh my gosh, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not one of, you think to the used car salesman or someone you hear on TV, pushing this product. I don't do that. I don't do that well at all. And that was a big challenge for me, to go out there and get clients, but not only get clients, but to tell people about how brilliant I am. Pat, didn't you go through that where you thought, why it's really hard to talk about yourself?
Yeah, and being British, I mean, this is a whole other thing, because we see North American speakers coming over here who tell us how brilliant they are. We think, oh, I don't think you should say that, So there's different styles as well, depending which countries you're in, as to what's acceptable. If I'm coming to North America, I have to turn it up, Otherwise people think, well, she can't be very sure of herself because she's not selling. Whereas if I turned it up too much here, people think, well, who does she think she is?
Exactly, right? Well, and you have, a difference in culture. We have a difference in culture that you're indicating, and I had a difference in upbringing.
Yes.
That's different from other people that are proud to say what they do. But my parents and my family, we were very low key. We're very humble people. We did not brag. We did not brag. And we may have had egos in the home, but not outside the home, So that was probably one of the biggest challenges. And I'm sure in other cultures and other countries, that is going to be a challenge when you go to North America, or I don't know where else they brag without fear or naked. But
that's why it's always good when you're speaking at these conferences, if there's somebody to introduce you. Some conferences you go to and you have to introduce yourself, and you've got to big yourself up at the beginning. Whereas if somebody else is introducing you, they can say all that stuff and you think, phew, they're telling my story and where I've been and what I've done, and at least I don't have to do that bit of it. And that was great at the public speakers, wasn't it? We had Katrina Sawa, who I interviewed recently, and we had the lovely Drew Hunthausen as well. And so having them introduce us, I thought was really helpful.
It is helpful. And even when I talk to coaches and business owners who they still need the branding, they still need the products to help build their business, and they're toying with the idea of speaking, I remind them that it's okay to just start out now and call yourself a speaker. Just number one, put that speaker title on your LinkedIn profile. If you're going to use speaking as a means to grow your business, put it on your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook, everywhere, your business card, add the title speaker. It elevates you. Now, here's why I'm sharing this. When people see you as a speaker or an author, it immediately elevates you, right?
Yeah.
Well, that in turn gives you confidence and gives you validation. Some people rely on validation from others to get that confidence, and then you start feeling okay with the idea that you are brilliant, you do have value.
Yeah, and that's part of the brand. I mean, we're talking about you as being a branding specialist, and not just with the graphics. I mean, it's all of this stuff that matters as well. Those words that you use about yourself, it's all shorthand for your brand, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that I encourage entrepreneurs, whether you're speaking or not, is to ensure that your message is clear. Having a clear message that's targeted to the people that you want to help, the people that you want to purchase from you, that is key. That is so key. And ensuring it's consistent on every piece of your marketing literature, that's key.
Yeah, I love that. So I know that you're always evolving. And when I speak to other entrepreneurs, I know that evolving is part of the characteristics of entrepreneurs. They don't stay still. What's happening with you now? How do you think you're evolving now?
Well, actually, that's interesting because for years, and I even indicated to you when I spoke with Tanya Hoffman how I was just a graphic designer. Well, I'm not just a graphic designer anymore. I'm an international best-selling author,
Yeah.
An international speaker, a branding strategist. And if that sounds like I'm gloating, I'm not. Those are facts. They're facts. And now I have even received even more clarity with someone that we shared the stage with, Paul Fink, received some clarity about how the graphic design really is second to the branding strategy. I've been providing branding strategy, but I never really committed to it. So that I'm evolving there. Just a week ago, I had this epiphany and said, oh, well, I really am a branding strategist. And you know what that does when you're add strategy to your services? It increases your fees.
Yeah.
When you're authentic with yourself, if you allow yourself to be who you are in front of other people, people believe you. And in order for people to purchase from you, they have to know, like, and trust you. And the only way you can do that is through being authentic and true to yourself.
You know, Alicia, I was quite worried about doing my presentation at the conference. I will share that with you. I'm opening it up to everybody who's watching because I decided to do these sort of 10 things I'd learned from being a public speaker. And, you know, it covered the whole period of my life from being 5 years old and the Virgin Mary and the Nativity play. And then I watched all these amazing speakers on stage and I thought, oh, have I pitched this wrong? And is the humor going to go down because I'm a Brit and I'm with mainly Americans and what's going to happen? And then I was just so pleased that I'd done it because it went over well and I had a lot of, but it's who I am, you know. If I tried to do something else, it wouldn't have been authentically me. And that was, you know, I've had a few times where I've fallen flat on my face, but I've learned from it. And this is what I've learned. And if I can help you to learn these things so you don't have to fall flat on your face, it's all good, you know. And the humor to me is just so important.
It is to me as well. And I believe that's because one of my purposes in life is to give joy and laughter.
Yeah.
And if I can't do that in a presentation, then I haven't served the audience well. You know, and I haven't met my own purpose, my own core value, you know.
I think if you're looking at an audience and they're smiling back at you, you know you've done a good job.
It feels good, doesn't it?
I love it. So what would be your top tip then, either for an entrepreneur, I was going to say just an entrepreneur, there's never just an entrepreneur because we know how tough it is, for new entrepreneurs or particularly for new entrepreneurs who are wondering about doing public speaking as part of their business?
Well, one of the things that you want to get clear on is your business plan. Where do you want it to go? What is your idea of success? Because not everybody's idea of success is money. Yeah. You know, it could be freedom from having to go to a corporate world. What does that mean? Does that mean increasing your fees? Does it mean selling a product that's above and beyond someone else's, your competition? What makes you unique? So that business plan is key. Now, I don't work in business plans, but I can tell you that's what helped me. I secured a mentor from an organization that supplied them for free here in America. And he walked me through what my product should look like, what my fees should be. When I first started out, my fees were $25 an hour. He raised them to $75. That was 12 years ago. Now I'm at, should I say $100 an hour, you know, for design, and then $250 for consultation. I never in my life would have thought I would charge someone $250 to impart my wisdom, my expertise, but people are paying it. So know your worth.
Yeah.
Know your worth, develop the business plan, and then get out there and tell people you're a speaker and tell people you want to get in front of their groups and their audiences and share your message. And always impart some golden nuggets. Now, I know I just threw a whole bunch of tips at you, but but there's just so much I would love to help you with. And that's some of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there are so many golden nuggets in what we talked about. Firstly, wait till you find your passion. It might not be that thing that you started off doing, and something will evolve, if you're open to it. Secondly is evolve. I don't think enough people say that part of being an entrepreneur is evolving. You don't stay still. You don't stay with the same product. You have to be watching your client, the market. Don't fall so much in love with what you're doing that you don't change it. Be prepared to do the public speaking, because it's a way to get to such a big audience. And even if you're only talking to a small number of people, that's way more than you would just on one-to-one. Having your business plan, oh my goodness, how important is that? Finding a mentor, you skipped over that, but having a mentor, somebody who can help you, who's already done some of the falls and can help you to avoid them. And most of all, authenticity. If you're not feeling authentic and genuine, your clients will hear it as well.
They do.
We pick up on all these tiny, tiny signs, and you think, I don't know if she was saying the right things, but and finally, what would you say about branding then, and graphic design around branding? Any tips about that?
Absolutely. When you're considering a visual branding, ensure that the colors are what you like, because you're going to be promoting them day in and day out. And that the colors, your visual branding, your fonts, the style is consistent on all platforms. Because it's kind of like when you hear a song on the radio for the first time, you're getting to know it, you kind of like it, and the third time you're kind of singing the chorus. Well, by the fifth and sixth time, you're singing it out loud. And the reason why is because it sounds exactly the same each time it is played. The words are the same, the tune is the same each and every time. And that's what your branding, visual branding, and your messaging needs to be each and every time, consistent.
This has been so much fun, Alicia, and we have scattered our path with diamonds and gems here. If anybody watching would like to work with you, how do they find out more about you?
You can certainly find me on Facebook at Alicia White 911. And you can also visit my websites, backoftheroomproductions.com and speakersheets.com.
And the name of your book is?
Oh, my amazing book that was just recently endorsed by the Tom Ziegler of Ziegler Incorporated. Yes.
That's a good brand.
Isn't it? Yeah. The Successful Speaker's Handbook. And it's available on Amazon.
Fantastic. So first port of call, there's the book. Thank you so much, Alicia. Thanks for joining me today. It's been such fun talking to you.
Thank you, Pat. Goodbye, everybody.
So to all of our viewers, thank you so much for watching, and keep watching out for more of these wonderful interviews with amazing entrepreneurs. See you next time.